All right, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Here at Lawrence District 55 High School this afternoon, Bennett Edwards has signed to play baseball at Georgia Southern, and Emily Riopel has signed to play with girls wrestling. Girls wrestling, yes, they do girls wrestling here at Lawrence with Randolph College with the Wildcats. Now, let me ask you this question first. Bennett, who else showed any interest in you besides Georgia Southern?
I had offers from Presbyterian College, Walford College, Upstate, UC Upstate, Winthrop, and then Georgia Southern.
Now, let me ask you this question following up on that. You chose Georgia Southern. Any particular reason you chose them over the other schools?
So in my recruiting, I was actually going to go to Walford, and the last week I went on a visit to Georgia Southern in Statesboro, and it changed everything. The environment, the coaching staff, I knew it was a place where I could go to develop to get to the next level, which that's my dream.
So you decided to become an Eagle and not a Terrier. Okay. Emily, what about you? Where else did you look at or show interest in you as far as wrestling is concerned?
PC, Presbyterian, Newberry, St. Andrews. And there's not many schools with women's wrestling, so it was a select few who really.
Well, what made Randolph stand out that you choose them?
Their environment. They had, out of many colleges that do have women's wrestling, they don't have female coaches. And I had Randolph. They have a head coach as a woman and an assistant, and that was actually really like a thing that stood out for me. And their environment seems like good, and I went up there, and it's a beautiful campus, middle of the mountains in Lynchburg. So I was like, this seems what I want to go for.
Now, you said there's not many colleges that have girls wrestling team. Some of them do have co-ed. As a matter of fact, girls wrestling has just been catching on here on the high school level in the last few years. From what my understanding is, the way that Coach Sauce was talking about out there, you're kind of a pioneer here and a leader.
Yes, sir. There's only like a couple girls, they come, but they don't stick around, and there's only been really one girl, her name's Faith Kemp, who stuck around with me most of these years.
Okay. Now, Bennett, going back to you over there, you've also had a pretty successful career here at Lawrence High School. Y'all were runner-up in the state last year. I know you've been playing with Diamond Prospects, I believe it is, and some others. Gotten a lot of all-season experience this year, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
What do you think the Raiders' chances are of repeating and getting back to the state championship?
Well, we got high hopes. You know, we actually talked about it yesterday after conditioning. Coach Pete lived in our group chat, 2024 upper state champs. And that upper state is, we want to take out that upper and be state champs this year. I mean, we got the talent. It's all around. I mean, it's all around. You can see it if you go out and watch. I mean, we've got talent. People say pitching is always a question. It's not going to be a question. We just got a bunch of dogs.
Now, let me ask you this question about Georgia Southern. Have you talked with the coach about where they plan on using you?
I will be a primary catcher, secondary outfielder. Spend most of my time, obviously, behind the plate. I mean, that's what I've done all my life, and can't thank my pops enough for getting me into it.
Okay. Now, Emily, I know it's not polite to ask a lady her weight, but what weight class do you usually participate in?
In the high school level, the weight classes always bounce around from women's to men's. It can always change. Usually I stay 160 to 65, but in the men's division I have wrestled up all the way to 190 before for men's varsity. I did not do well, but I did what my coach told me to do. For college, I'm thinking to commit at 160.
Now, according to your coach out there a while ago, you had a pretty stellar career here at Lawrence High School. I believe, was it fourth year you're in it this year?
Yes, sir.
And
this is my 6th year wrestling.
6th year wrestling, and you've been not only to the state a few times and done very well, but you've been participating at a high level outside of the high school. You want to mention just a couple of those?
So I have wrestled for the national teams 3 years, 3 years going on, and I have participated at Tulsa, Oklahoma, Nebraska. I've been to Fargo, and if you wrestle, if you know what Fargo is, I've been there, didn't do good, but I've been there. I've All-Americaned at 3 of these tournaments. Super 32, I was the only person at the high school level to place from South Carolina.
Wow. Remind me, Bennett, if she gets mad at me, stay away from her. She'll always slam me down the way things go. Now, thinking back over your careers here at Lawrence High School, Bennett, I'll ask you first. there's any one game, any one moment, or anything like that that stands out in your mind that you probably never forget the rest of your life?
I got two things. My 7th grade year, actually, we'll start with my 6th grade year. I actually didn't play my last year of Little League because I was ready to kind of move on. And I want to thank Coach P for actually giving me the opportunity to be a manager for the baseball team. So I kind of got an experience of doing that. That's one thing I would definitely stick with me. But the other thing was last year in the Upper State Championship, Game 2 at Easley, and the top of the 7th, yeah. Bases loaded, no outs, and that was I hit a bases cleared double to put us down 1. And then we ended up coming back, and we ended up winning that one by 1 in a very, very close game. Very close game.
I remember that game. It was very close. The Raiders showed a lot of spunk coming back.
For sure.
Okay. Emily, what about you here in your at your high school career? Anything stand out with you?
I'm going to say two things as well. One is the community that I have been able to like be around, and the second one would probably be my freshman year when I won state. The amazement I had of, oh my God, I just did this, and seeing like my coaches being like happy about it. And it was like an unreal moment for me.
Just I guess what I know so much recruiting now, especially baseball, volleyball, all these other sports, happens outside of the school. How much did your club teams or your individual accomplishments outside of here help you with your recruiting?
The way I got recruited probably wasn't the most traditional route, but I'd say traveling helped me the most get recruited because there isn't many colleges around here that is like women's wrestling, so I had to travel to get my name out.
I earned most of my offers were come watch travel ball and stuff like that, and like you said, Don Prospect, they do a Palmetto Games that's like the first week in August is a weekend, and I started getting my first offers after Palmetto Games on August 2nd, and they changed the rule to where you can't talk to colleges till your junior year, October 1st. My Georgia Southern offer was a story. So I actually hit him up because they were actually the first school I've ever been to showcase and stuff. Well, they liked me, and then I hit him back up after August 1st hit, and I had a border battles in High Point, North Carolina, and he came, and it wasn't with a trial. It was just a showcase basically, and he came, he watched, and they got me on a visit next week, but. I mean, I did get most of my offers from playing, your traditional travel ball, show up, play, and then they give you a call.
Right. Well, Emily, you talked about when did you get into the sport and what made you passionate about it?
So when I was younger, both my brothers had wrestled at Lawrence, and they had like a little kid program. So I was just kind of playing around. I really wasn't as committed, and I kind of stopped. About 3rd grade, and then at 7th grade was when I really got back into it, and I started wrestling with the high schoolers and just putting it in, and like I just got into it. Like I didn't really have like a one moment where I was like I want to wrestle. I just did it.
Can you imagine then what it would bring you? Like you said, you've gotten to see a lot of the United States, already, and now it's going to help you pay for college.
When I was in 7th grade. Wrestling in college for women wasn't a thing. Like, I think it was probably my 8th grade year, PC announced that they'd be the first D1 college for women's wrestling in the whole U.S. So, like, seeing that, I was like, oh, okay, well, this might be a thing. And I didn't really start thinking about it till maybe my sophomore year. And I was like, yeah, like, colleges are still popping up randomly, be like, we got a team. And yeah, I'll be walking on to Randolph's 2nd year with a female team.
Well, Lawrence has had quite a little run of catchers. You had Kodak, and he kind of gave on to you, and he's done well in college and playing the summer leagues and everything. What does it mean to have that? And you kind of got to be his understudy, and then with Coach P and the coaching that you've gotten here.
Kodak was a huge role model for me. It felt perfect for me. His year he graduated was my freshman year, and I came in, and who else was there to catch? So obviously I got to give Coach P thanks for trusting me and stuff like that, putting a freshman boy back there to catch. But yeah, Kodak was a huge role model for me, And like you said, I mean, great college career for him right now, and he's still playing. But if it weren't for him, I definitely wouldn't be in this situation either. You know, just taking the studies that he does, you know, blocking a baseball, throwing a baseball, anything like that. Like that's just time to, you know, take from him. And like I said, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for him. There's a lot of people who have really put into me, and I like it.
Well, one thing I noticed with Coach P was, you know, the way he communicates with his catchers is, it's not over the top. It's just like little signals and little, you know, if he wants you to do something. But how much of the game does he entrust to you? And I know you got a headset on and everything, but you know, how much is it what you're feeling and what you're thinking?
Let's see. So my freshman year, we had Grant Ramsey, you know, head coach at Hillcrest now. Coach Ramsey would call the game for about the first time through the lineup, and then after that, I would call it for the rest of the game. And then, you know, once you lose your trust, then you start calling again. But I called every game after the first time through the lineup. My freshman year and then my sophomore year, he went to Hillcrest. We didn't have a pitching coach my sophomore year, and I started calling it. I called every game by myself. Like you said, this past year, we did get pitch calm. We're coming up in the world. We're moving, and that's been a big jump for us. Me and Coach Norris have made a little Morse code to where if we like a pitch or if we don't like a pitch or something like that. But yeah, I mean, Coach P's put a lot of trust in me in big time situations, and I can promise you it's not easy throwing a 3-2 fastball down the middle. But sometimes when you got bases loaded, you got to do it.
Trust the pitcher, right?
That's right.
Emily, one more for you. Just the responsibility. Do you feel like a responsibility to help grow the sport? Because it's, you know, like I said, it's so new. And
Yeah, women. There hasn't been. Like, there has been women before me on the team. I'm not going to say I was the first one, but really, because I do feel a responsibility. I don't want to be the last the last girl on the team, and I've tried to grow the sport. Like, I'll put up posters around the school. I'll ask, but it's hard to get girls in the sport. They hear wrestling and they're like, ugh, boys, like, that's gross. Like, it's just hard to get people in it. They'll see the singlet, the uniform we wear. It's not really the most appealing thing. It's super uncomfortable, but it's hard to get people to see it as like something wonderful like I do.
Okay, I lied. One more. You mentioned community earlier, and I know, you know, I follow the wrestling page on Facebook and the high school athletics page and all that. Traveling's expensive, and I know you've had GoFundMe's and folks help. What was it meant to, you know, what that kind of community support that helps you get where you needed to go?
I mean, it took a small army to, like, one, build the program, not just for the girls, but also the males team. Like, all the help that I have been given, it goes to my parents, the coaches, like, just people that, like, because I had, I'd say, like, working at Ingles, like, shout out to Roy McCall, who hired me and is willing to work on my schedule so I could have a small paycheck just to go on these trips. Yeah. So
you were saving money on your own? To do
yeah, it was a lot. Like, my parents had to take up side jobs because we also needed to pay bills, but we also needed to give me $800 to go on a week trip to Oklahoma. My coaches, like, whatever spare money they could donate, and they'd come on, like, during the summer when they weren't going to get paid just to wrestle with me. I would call up coaches from different schools because maybe my coaches couldn't take off time with their work, or just so I'd have a coach at Coach Jordan's brother, his twin from Bluffton, had to coach me at 2 national tournaments. That was part of my community. It's not just a school community, it was the whole wrestling community, and the community of Lawrence really helped me.
Wow. Traveling by yourself, you got to grow up pretty quick.
Oh yeah, I was 14, and this Coach Estrada contacted my dad and was like, "Hey, we need a 180 for this tournament. Your daughter plays at state. Well, can she come with me?" And then he was like, "Kind of $800." My dad's like, "This is suspicious." So, like, we did research on this man, and I hopped into this man's van, like, this is weird, and I went to Oklahoma with this, like, 14 to 16 girls, and we drove, like, to Oklahoma, and I was just like, this is for real, like, I'm going out of state by myself for the first time. Yeah, luckily everything went smoothly, and I had great coaches.
I have one final question for the two of you. So far, we've been talking athletics, but you're both going to further your education. What's the old saying, only one out of about 1,000 high school athletes, or even less than that, make it to the pros? What you plan on majoring in and what you want to do when you get out of college? And I'll start with you, Bennett.
Like you said, that pros is a small ratio. People laugh at me all the time, oh, you're not going to do it. But it's been a childhood dream for me to touch a pro baseball field. Not saying it's going to happen. Like you said, that ratio it's not likely. But I feel like I'm willing to do the extra to get there. But if it doesn't work, you always got to have the but. I thought about majoring in exercise science and doing sports physical therapy, or majoring in business, and we'll find something to do with the business degree. And then also coaching has been, that's something that I would love to do too.
Yeah, if you get you a job as a trainer, someplace maybe you can also moonlight as a coach.
Yes, sir.
Emily, I don't know. I just can't see you in the WWE.
That is two different things. That is asking him to play soccer. Those are two different things.
I know. Professional wrestling is not really a sport. It's entertainment, and they'll tell you that now. But what are you going to major in and try to do when you get out of school?
Funny enough, it's the same thing as him. I'm going for sports and exercise science, become an athletic trainer, to moonlight as a coach. I'm seriously doing the same thing he is, but wrestling.
Well, I want to say congratulations to both of you, and good luck to you in what's left of your career here at Lawrence High School. You still got spring baseball, and wrestling's just around the corner, getting started here, first of next month or so, something like that?
Oh, we've already started this month.
Okay. All right, well, good luck to both of you, and just don't forget where you came from.